Since all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna Guru Maharaj, I think Mataji got disconnected suddenly. Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, you are on mute, Guru Maharaj. Yes, Mataji is back. Yeah.
Sorry, Maharaj, there was some problem with the internet. Please forgive me.
Yeah. Wow, Brenda Kumari, how do you roll? Nice name.
Mataji, please lower your screen a little bit.
How many people got initiated?
There were 6 first initiations and 4
6?
or 5 second initiations, Maharaj.
Okay, good. Was yesterday?
Yes.
Well, you look like you just made it back to Vaikuntha.
It's all because of your blessings, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll continue with Queen Kunti in the series.
So the verse would be 1:8:37.
Yes.
So can I share the screen, Maharaj?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll continue with the prayers of Queen Kunti. And here is verse 37 from chapter 8 of the first canto. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Abhyadanastvam Sarkritita Prabho. Chihasasi Swid Surido Nujivinaha. Isam Nachanyam Bhavatal Prabal Bhujat. Parayanam Rajasu Yositam Hasam. O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. And are you leaving us today, although we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us when all the kings are at enmity with us? O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today, though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us now when all the kings are at enmity with us? Pandavas are most fortunate because with all good luck, they were entirely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. In the material world, to be dependent on the mercy of someone else is the utmost sign of misfortune. But in the case of our transcendental relationship with the Lord, it is most fortunate case when we live completely dependent on Him. That the material disease is due to thinking of becoming independent of everything. But the cruel material nature does not allow us to become independent. The false attempt to become independent of the stringent laws of nature is known as material advancement of experimental knowledge. The whole material world is moving on this false attempt to become independent of the laws of nature. Beginning from Ravana, who wanted to prepare a direct staircase to the planets of heaven, down to the present age, they are trying to overcome the laws of nature. I'm going to have to stop for a second and get my glasses so I can continue. 1 minute. They are trying now to approach distant planetary systems by electronic mechanical power. But the highest goal of human civilization is to work hard under the guidance of the Lord and become completely dependent on Him. The highest achievement of perfect civilization is to work with valor, at the same time depend completely on the Lord. Pandavas were the ideal executors of this standard of civilization. Undoubtedly, they were completely dependent on the goodwill of Lord Shri Krishna. They were not idle parasites of the Lord. I have to do one more thing, I'm sorry. They were all highly qualified, both by personal character and by physical activities. Still, they always looked for the mercy of the Lord because they knew that every living being is dependent by constitutional position. Perfection of life is therefore to become dependent on the will of the Lord instead of becoming falsely independent in the material world. Those who try to become falsely independent of the Lord are called anatta, or without any guardian, whereas those who are completely dependent on the will of the Lord are called sanatta, for those who have someone to protect them. Therefore, we must try to be sanatta so that we can always be protected from the unfavorable condition of material existence. By diluting power of external material nature, we forget that the material condition of life is the most undesirable perplexity. The Bhagavad Gita, therefore, directs us that after many, many births, one fortunate person becomes aware of the fact that Vasudeva, Krishna, is all in all, and that the best way of leading one's life is to surrender unto him completely. That is a sign of a Mahatma. All the members of the Pandava family were Mahatmas in household life. Maharaj Yudhisthira was the head of these Mahatmas, and Queen Kunti was the mother. Lessons of the Bhagavad Gita and all the Pandavas, specifically the Bhagavad Purana, and therefore inevitably connected with the history of the Pandava Mahatmas. For them, separation from the Lord was just like separation of a fish from water. Srimati Kunti Devi therefore felt such separation like a thunderbolt. And the whole prayer of the queen is to try to persuade the Lord to stay with them. After the battle of Kurukshetra, although the inimical kings were killed, their sons and grandsons were still there to deal with the Pandavas. It is not only the Pandavas who were put in the condition of enmity, but all of us are always in such a condition. And the best way of living is to become completely dependent on the will of the Lord and therefore overcome all difficulties of material existence. Umagyantimidandasya Ginajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadammayam Dadati Swam Padatikam Uma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvasesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Desatarine Panchakalpatarubyascha Kripa Sindhupe Vatyapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The example is given as a dog. If a dog has a good master, he's happy. He centers his whole life around the master. And someone comes close to the master, sometimes he barks. And he's always ready to fulfill the desires of the master. He becomes happy because he has a good master. Whereas sometimes you see dogs that don't, and they live in the streets and they're going here and there looking for food, looking for shelter, looking for something. But these dogs are miserable because they don't have a master. And in the dog, we learn one thing, faithfulness, always very faithful to the master. Or you might say dependent on the master always, faithful to and dependent upon. So here it's illustrated that one should find a good master and become dependent upon. Now people become dependent upon material energy as their master. The Prabhupada makes the point here that material energy is perplexing. And therefore one becomes falsely independent because material energy cannot give shelter. Material energy cannot fulfill our desires to become happy. So it's an endless array of complexities that we take shelter of, such as wife, husband, money, family relationships, our intelligence, our friends, our position in the world. We become dependent on these things to give us some support, to give us some upliftment, some happiness, some success, to protect us when things become dangerous. And it's not possible because these things are fallible and they can't even protect themselves, what to speak about giving protection to others. It says just like a boat on the water cannot save a drowning man. Because unless there is a person who operates the boat, then it's the person who uses the boat to save the drowning man, not the boat itself. So in the same way, we find people don't want to become dependent on God because they don't want to follow the rules that God sets down for them to become dependent. And therefore, people find different reasons to give reasons why God can't protect them. God is not protecting others. They see that when something happens to someone, they immediately blame God for not giving protection or not changing the situation for according to their own concocted idea. So therefore, the people don't have faith in God. But one who knows that the entire material energy is controlled by the Lord, and if you take shelter of the controller of the material energy, then the material energy will not work against you. It'll work for you, because the person you are taking shelter is the controller. So everything in this material world is created by and is controlled by the Lord, and ultimately is destroyed by the Lord too. So when one knows that there's nothing separate from the Lord. Now we see things separately. That's just the way it is. We see ourselves and we see God, and we think there is a separatist. But the separation is simply our false consciousness. We are never separated from the Lord, nor can we ever be separated from the Lord. It's not possible. But because of Maya, the illusionary energy, we think in a separate way, or we think we've become separate. It's just like if you're standing on the earth and you're looking up in the sky, you see some clouds sometime, and because the clouds are covering the sun, you can't see the sun. So you think yourself separate from the sun, but it's just the clouds that are blocking the vision of the sun. But still, the sun is working through the clouds to give you sun rays. They come through the clouds many times, not directly, but sometimes indirectly, depending on the cloud. It's a kind of a nebulous example. But the point is that it's just the cloud that is covering the sun. Our consciousness of Maya is covering our relationship with Krishna, that's all. When we learn to see everything in relationship with Krishna, then we can see Krishna in everything, and everything in Krishna. But how do we do that? That is not so easy. And there's where the spiritual master comes in. He teaches you how to connect with Krishna and how to use everything for and to see everything within Krishna. For instance, we're sitting in front of these machines, we call them computers. They're a combination of different elements, metal, rubber, and oil is also in there. Oil is always in plastic. Plastic contains oil. And you have other features, that ingredients that make up the computer. But if you break these elements down, they come down to their 5 basic elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And these are created by Krishna. So the Krishna's energies formulated in a certain way to make a computer. So if one says that this computer is Krishna's energy, although it is transformed into a certain way to produce a particular result, that is seeing Krishna in everything. So Krishna is not the computer, but his energy, which makes up the ingredients of the computer combined together, is non-different than him. And therefore, the energy is seen as a means to see Krishna through the energy. Prabhupada would one time demonstrated this point in a very clear way. He was giving a lecture, and then he said, and he held up his glasses, and he says, "When you see my glasses, what do you think?" And the devotee said, "Yes, we see them as your glasses." Prabhupada said, "Yes." And that's how we should see everything in this world. Everything belongs to Krishna. Everything is made up of the elements made from Krishna's basic ingredients, and then they're formulated by Brahma to make up the different forms in this world. And then we, the third creators, we take these different ingredients and we reformulate them into houses, cars, computers, furniture, and whatever else you have. So, but everything comes from Krishna, therefore nothing is separate from Krishna. And Krishna is the controller of everything too, because he who creates is also the controller. And he who creates is also the enjoyer. This energy that he's created is meant for his enjoyment because he owns it. Just like you give an example, if you go to an art museum, you see many paintings on the walls, and you'll see the names sometimes in the corner of the painting, the name of the artist. So the artist is the one who has made the painting, but he offers it so we can appreciate it, we can enjoy it. But ultimately, the painting is meant for his enjoyment because he created it. But he's sharing his enjoyment with us. So Krishna is sharing what he's created, and he gives it to us to use to live in this world. But ultimately, it's meant for his enjoyment. And that is bhakti. That is bhakti. Bhakti means to take whatever you get and use it in Krishna's service. That's all. When you have that knowledge or you have that understanding, then life becomes nice. Nothing belongs to me. Not even the body I have belongs to me. And therefore, one thinks, well, everything belongs to Krishna, everything's meant for Krishna. Therefore, I should be dependent on Krishna. Dependent on Krishna means to understand how to use whatever he's given for his service. That's what it means to depend on Krishna. And that's also our time, our intelligence, our abilities, our material facilities. We connect everything to Krishna. And therefore, we have a protector. Because those who take shelter of Krishna and depend on Krishna will be protected by Krishna. And therefore, when one is protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there's no need for any other protectors because Krishna is complete in his protection. And those who don't have Krishna as a protector has to accept a false protector, and that's called anatha, or falsely independent. They think themselves independent, but they're not because they're soldiers or they're dependent. The persons that they're dependent on or the situations they're dependent on cannot give them protection. Just like you may have the best physician and you go with some disease, but if Krishna doesn't empower that physician, then he can't save the patient. Valentina, okay. So, yeah. So everything the devotees can, and here Queen Kunti is praying. Krishna has now established King Ugrasena on the throne. He's killed Kamsa, and now he's about to leave. But Kunti says, you're leaving us to, we have so many enemies because now the friends of Kamsa, the allies of Kamsa, will try to attack Mathura, and they will come and who will protect us? If you don't protect us, nobody will protect. No one else can give us protection. So we are completely dependent on you. And a devotee has to learn to live like that. It's a science where we have to understand how to depend on Krishna in every moment. I was faced with a apparently difficult situation this morning. And then I just threw my arms up in the air and I said, Krishna, I can't figure it out. You figure it out. Tell me what to do. It's all about devotional service. And then in due course of time, everything became clear. At first, I couldn't figure out what to do, and I was going back and forth, thinking this and thinking that. And then when I said, my dear Lord, I'm yours, you do it. You guide me, you give me the intelligence to help. And then in due course of time, quite quickly, everything became clear. And and when I did it, I understood this was the perfect thing to do also. In other words, Krishna always makes the perfect plan. So we're all faced with that sometimes. We get into situations we don't know what to do. But if we remember Krishna and pray to Krishna and try to connect everything with Krishna, then we find that life becomes so less complicated. Material condition desire, life, Prabhupada said, is the most undesirable perplexity. Everybody has different opinions on how things should go on, and people clash over that. That's true. So the science is learning how to depend on Krishna, and that takes some time to learn that science. It's not something that you can just, of course, some of us are more adept at it, but others, and most of us, should take instructions and guidance from our spiritual master. And therefore, when we apply those instructions, we'll see the results are always positive. But learning to become dependent on Krishna. Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, my dear Lord, Amara, what does he say? Amara Kukuda. He calls himself, I am a dog. I'm your dog. I'm sitting at the front door, wagging my tail, asking for some service, some shelter. But we want to take full shelter of Krishna. And we can do that, we can practice that, but it becomes learned as a science when we consult our spiritual masters and learn how to do that. When we falsely think we can do things ourselves, we wind up getting, sometimes things go out okay, but most of the times they don't. Because our knowledge is limited, our understanding is limited, and our choices are motivated by wrong desires many times. Sometimes to make a choice, you have to go against your own particular, the right choice, you have to go against your own particular desire, because your desire may be in a certain way, but that may also be the cause of all the problems that you're desiring wrongly. So, yeah, this is a great lesson here. Queen Kunti is saying, don't leave us. We need you. We are fully dependent on you. It's not that if you're going to leave, we'll find someone else to be dependent on. No, there is no one else. It's only you, my dear Lord. And Krishna likes that. He likes when his devotees depend on him. In fact, we could say that many of the times the difficulties we have in life are sent to us by Krishna so we can learn to become more dependent on him. When Krishna sees sometimes that we're getting away from dependence on him, he'll sometimes, out of his causeless mercy, make things more difficult where we're forced to depend on him. Okay, this is a nice verse and purport, of course. But the Pandavas, they were fully dependent on Krishna, and therefore they were successful in everything they did. Although they went through trials and tribulations, they never left their dependence on Krishna. And ultimately, as everything turned out, they were fully elevated, exalted. And now we read about them as being one of the best of all Krishna's devotees because they simply depended on Krishna. Okay.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for explaining about this verse. It is such a beautiful verse and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Maharaj. I request devotees, please go ahead with your questions, realizations, reflections. I'm sure there will be many questions, realizations based on this purport. Please turn on your videos if possible. That would be nice. So Maharaj, can I go ahead with one question until devotees are thinking about their questions and realization? So it is about being dependent on Krishna. So you mentioned that it is a science to learn how to be dependent on Krishna all the time. And it happens with us sometimes that we tend to be dependent on Krishna only when we are into situations where we don't know what to do. So how do we learn to be dependent on Krishna also when everything is going fine?
By thinking of Krishna, by chanting Krishna's name, praying to Krishna, my dear Lord, how can I serve you in this situation? We shouldn't ask Krishna to fulfill our material desires. That's not being dependent on Krishna. That's the wrong way to become dependent. We should think in terms of how can we serve Krishna, and automatically that dependency becomes there's a connection through the service. If we're trying to act separately for Krishna and at the same time be dependent on him, then we're asking him to do something that may not be good for us. And therefore he won't do it. Then we think, what happened? So therefore, when I say it's a science, that means you have to learn that from your spiritual master. I think there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita. If you could go to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse number 9. It's both in the purport and in the verse. It's worth reading, I think. 3:9.
Yeah. Yes, Maharaj, I'm just sharing it.
Yagnartha kamano nyatra loko yam karma bandhanaha tadartha kama kontaya mukta sangasama. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way you'll always remain free from bondage. So you go down. Here it says, therefore, one has to work for the satisfaction of Vishnu. Any other work done in the material will cause bondage, for both good and evil work have had the reactions. Therefore, one has to work in Krishna consciousness to satisfy Krishna. And whilst performing such activities, one is in a liberated stage. Here's the answer. This is the great art of doing work. And in the beginning, this process requires very expert guidance. One should therefore act very diligently under the expert guidance of a devotee of Krishna or on the direction of Krishna himself. Nothing should be performed for sense gratification. Everything should be done for the satisfaction of the Lord. So here it says, this great art of doing work. In the beginning, this process requires very expert guidance. And that means the spiritual master. But once you learn how to do that, then it becomes natural and easy.
So constant practice is required for that. Right, Maharaj? That's what I was thinking.
Okay. Bring us back to the
Yes. Here.
bring us back to the
This verse, Maharaj, today's
to the
verse?
devotees.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, devotees, please go ahead with your questions or reflections. Srimati Mataji, do you have questions?
Yeah, Sridevi Mataji raised her hand.
Yeah. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Thank you, Vrinda Kumari Devi Dasi. Please accept my humble obeisances, dear Guru Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Guru Maharaj. This point of depending on Krishna, and you have explained this point, Guru Maharaj, many times, and I'm still trying to understand it. You mentioned that it doesn't mean we should just sit back and expect Krishna to do all the work. You had told us that just like Arjuna, Krishna didn't say you go to sleep and I will do everything. He induced Arjuna to fight. So same way, we have to continue to do our part. But that's the question I have. How do we know in which way our action should go, which direction to take, what is to be done? Even as we are depending on Krishna, we may be very bewildered and not know what to do and what not to do. So how do we get clarity and understanding what is the right direction to go in?
I gave that example this morning. I said I didn't know what to do. I just said, my dear Krishna, I can't do it. You do it. And he did. Throw up your arms. I can't do it.
Govinda.
Only when you realize you can't do it, then you can't do it. If you still think you can do it, then go ahead. Krishna's right there. You just think of him, you pray to him.
So how can we reach this point that every moment is simply hearing Krishna's voice directing us and telling us what to do, so that there's no more of this mental wrangling,
That's a high state. That's a high. Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita. When the mind is fully controlled, the super soul is reached, and happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor appear all the same. So when you become fully absorbed in controlling the mind and senses and engaging in devotional service, then time till we reach that stage, we should practice chanting Krishna and Hare Krishna all the time. Just keep, when you're chanting Hare Krishna, you're connected. Practice.
So by constant practice, by constantly trying to get the mind under the control of the superior self, there will come a day when we are no longer tormented by the material energy because we are completely absorbed in what Krishna is telling us to do.
Yeah. It's a process.
Jai. There's hope that Guru Maharaj for this mental anguish all the time. Finally, it'll be over someday.
Well, anyway, if you could learn to be free from the attachments to your results of your activities, you would be happy. You're too attached to the results. And therefore, you're over the moon when it goes good, and then you're under the ocean when it goes bad. And that doesn't, you got to get over that, because you're not the controller, nor can you make things happen either. If you learn how to be equipoised in happiness and distress and whatever results come by way of your activities,
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
and then
Thank you so
it
much.
becomes then it becomes easy to connect with Krishna. But if we're attached to the results of our activities, then we're in the mode of mental speculation. That's all. In devotional service, everything is good. In material life, everything is bad. Why? Because material things lead you away from Krishna, and even activities in devotional service that doesn't give you the desired results are good, because they're in connection with Krishna. Stay engaged in devotional service.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, you have mentioned that don't refuse any service. As long as you can do it, do it. So that's very, very helpful for me personally. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sri Devi Mataji, for that question. Srimati Mataji, would you like to go ahead?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for the nice class, Guru Maharaj. Actually, my question is not regarding this class. I was listening to your class in the temple, Guru Maharaj, this morning, Bhagavatam class. So you were mentioning about, I like the point where you mentioned that when we are in an association, devotees association, we have to always think about how we are going to serve, not that what we are getting from that association. So thank you so much for that, Guru Maharaj. So I just realized that how I am thinking, in what way I'm thinking when I'm in the devotees association, that really helped me to realize my position. And my question is, Guru Maharaj, like as one of the Prabhu, he was asking that Dhritarashtra, even though he is in the company of Krishna and Pandavas or Vidura, he didn't realize the position of Krishna. Just like that, even I feel myself that even I'm in the association of devotees, association of senior devotees with good qualities. They have a lot of good qualities, which I don't have. Then even though I'm in the association, but I'm not getting those points, or I'm not trying to learn. And I'm always thinking that I want to be like them superficially. But for that, I have to do some groundwork, which I'm not getting it. So I just want to ask you, can you please guide me, Guru Maharaj, like how to start with that, and also how to find out my thing, like why I'm in like this, or why I'm not able to get those good qualities, or at least aspire to that, Guru Maharaj.
The qualities that you want to develop are already within you. You have to bring them out. And two ways you can bring out your qualities is one is associate with those who have those qualities, and two, practice your own self to develop that. If you want to be humble, practice humility. If you want to be tolerant, practice tolerance. If you want to be patient, practice that. And at the same time, go on with your sadhana, chanting, hearing, associating. We have to practice what we want to be like also. At the same time, we should understand that it's the force of our hearing and chanting that's going to help us develop the qualities as we practice. And they're not independent. And, you know, when you're with association with a particular devotee who has a particular outstanding quality, that quality starts to enter into your own. As one devotee was telling me this morning, he said, I was complimenting how young he looks despite his age. And he said, yeah, it's because I just meditate on Krishna, who was always young. And he's giving me that youthful energy. You know, he was saying it in a kind of a joking way, but there is truth to it also. Yeah, so whatever you want to be like, associate with and practice at the same time.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah.
Most of us don't want to change. We want to change without doing anything.
Yeah. Even I find this is my problem too.
That's most of us. We want everything to happen without doing anything to make it happen. It's like, you know, it's not going to work like that.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I understood.
Yeah, just work on it, and that's all. Dhritarashtra, he was getting good association from Vidura, and Krishna was his well-wisher at the same time. But it took him a long time to finally come to this point of giving up all of his material attachments and simply focusing on self-realization. Didn't happen right away.
Hmm. Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Just practice.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
And your
Yeah.
practice will be successful because the same qualities you want to develop are within you. They just have to come out, that's all. But then sometimes, and there's another characteristic that's blocking it. So then there's where association with devotees helps to unblock those blockages.
So does accepting more service also unblocks that, Guru Maharaj? Does accepting more service helps Guru Maharaj?
That's one way,
Mm-hmm.
because our time is being used more for devotional service. Another way is to fine-tune our devotional service, whatever we're doing. Try to do it with more attention, more devotion, more quality. When you put quality into whatever you're doing, you enjoy doing what you're doing. And that quality is a feature of our love for Krishna.
Mm-hmm.
Does that help,
Okay.
Srimati Mataji?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Namrata Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, I wanted to ask, how can one deal with one's own introvertness when it comes to devotional service? I can think of desiring and prayers, but is there anything else which we should take care of?
I'm not sure I understood the essence of your question.
Okay, I'm repeating the question, Guru Maharaj. How can one deal with one's own introvertness when it comes to devotional service? Desires and prayers are something which I can think of at present, but is there anything else which one should be careful of?
I'm not sure if you're considering your introvertness as good or bad, but it's your nature. If that's your nature, then that's you. Some people are more introverted, some people are more extroverted. And either way, you can be Krishna conscious. So you can do service that is more on the introverted level. For instance, you're already doing that. You're an artist. So when you do your artwork, that is really a meditation. And that is definitely a very introverted type of service. Comes from your own abilities, along with a particular meditation on the service you're doing and how to do it. So just perfect that and keep doing it. And that's Krishna consciousness. People who write poetry, people who write books, people who compose songs, this is all from the internal mood. People who cook, people who do construction work, it's a combination of internal and external. More so external, less internal. So either way, there's no limitation on, or there's no, what's the word? There's no, not one is not better than the other.
So one should accept the introvertness, and there are ways to do devotional service in that area or in that arena also.
Yeah, when you know your nature, and then you know how to, you know how to use it in Krishna's service, there's where you both become happy, and at the same time, you make nice progress in spiritual life. A lot of times we do things that is against our nature, and we do it, but we find it's simply a struggle to do it. But, you know, Prabhupada wanted Varnashram, how to engage people according to their nature. We gave the whole class yesterday on Varnashram. So you have your talents, continue to use it. You don't have to go looking for other ways to do things.
Okay. So one should not endeavor for what is it not in your nature.
Well, if you want to do something else, that's up to you, but you don't have to. It's not necessary. Follow your nature, that's the best. And if you want, I'll give you more artwork to do. What you did so far is super excellent. And the book is coming out pretty soon. Everyone who saw you, the work you did, said this is really amazing. Krishna has given you that. Krishna's given you that talent, so use it in his service. Those of you who can write, use that in your service. Those of you who like to sing, use that in his service. Those of you who will like to cook, use that in his service.
My talent is from Krishna only, and I think whenever I do it, Guru Maharaj, I just feel it. I'm not doing it actually. It just comes out. So I consider it Krishna only that it comes out.
Prabhupada would read his own books. He would sometimes say, I'm not writing, Krishna is speaking, I'm just putting the words on paper. Yeah. We become a medium for Krishna's qualities, his talents, his abilities. But the thing is, we get the credit.
That is Krishna being merciful.
Yeah.
Guru being merciful.
Yes, Krishna's mercy. Guru's mercy, yeah.
It's actually Guru Maharaj. That is the same thing I realized in a couple of weeks before. I'm doing the Instagram service for your page, and in some of the posts there were so many appreciations and likes. So I used to do Instagram service before also for the material cause, but I never got so much response, so I could clearly discriminate that is not me. I'm just a medium. That is my Guru's potency and Krishna. So yes, I can clearly see that.
Yeah, I have to inspect what you're doing now because I haven't seen so much of it, but if everybody else is saying it's good, then continue.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about anything else.
I'm doing that under the guidance of Radha Bhakti Mataji.
Right. Just chant your rounds and do art. That's all. Two things. That's all you have to do.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. I'm just trying on Instagram. I'm just trying to make the page, which can be just a mini version of what you are trying to tell to your viewers, to your audience. So I'm just trying to portray it in a minimal, way.
Good. I'll be giving you some direct quotes soon as I get organized.
Sure, Guru Maharaj. Sure. I'll be waiting. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Sudha.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for your beautiful class. I got answered, but I just wanted to confirm with you again. Independency, I really like the class today, Guru Maharaj, because independency, we always hear in the material world also, like to be independent, we need to be independent. But today's class, I understood like real independency is depending on Krishna, understanding, everything we are like, energy of Krishna and depending on Krishna. So that's the real independency. So also Guru Maharaj, depending on Krishna means like following his instructions, right? So the root is like yesterday's class also, you have mentioned, Guru Maharaj, simply everything is consciousness. So when we work on our consciousness, so everything will be taken care, right? So because there are so many aspects in spirituality, it's so difficult to like, follow and understand. So if we focus on the consciousness, everything will be taken care. Like,
Correct. Everything you said was perfectly correct.
Okay, okay, because
But then how to do that is a science. So learn how to do that.
okay, Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Yes, so yeah, your instructions are helping us, but still there are so many things that we need to. Again, it's a science, as you said. Your mercy, maybe, so as a neophyte devotee, so we can just focus on the consciousness. So that's what I understood. So
Prabhupada said one thing. He said, and he doesn't just say things. He said, if you remember the lotus feet of the Lord, you will never meet obstacles in your execution of devotional service. Just remember Krishna's lotus feet as much as you can. Remember Prabhupada's lotus feet as much as you can. Put the image of Krishna in your mind when you're not around your deities. That's remembering Krishna. We have pictures that we keep in our house. When we see the pictures, we're remembering Krishna.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. So, Guru Maharaj, I have one more question. This is not today's class. I was thinking about this. It's like karma is like, I mean, this is about like Budhva Prabhuji's class. So, I was listening to the class again. So, I just wanted to like ask this question. Like karma is like body and mind. So, when we are situated above this body and mind, we will be like in a transcendental, we'll be in a very blissful state, right? So all the suffering is due to body and mind, right, Guru Maharaj? So I think this question is addressed a lot of times, but I just wanted to again, regarding to this, I wanted to check with you. Like pure devotees, they suffer. So when they suffer, they are situated in a transcendental state, right? So I mean, how do they suffer? Like is because they are not like
It's not, they don't suffer. Devotees don't suffer. They might experience some difficulty, but they don't suffer.
Okay,
The material world is full of difficulties, and there'll always be challenges sometimes. But it's not suffering. Suffering means attachment. If you're not attached, then you don't suffer. Attachment causes suffering. Be attached to Krishna, and even your attachment to Krishna in the execution of devotional service, you will experience various types of situations in your life, and some of them will be pleasant and some of them will be difficult or even unpleasant. But just remember Krishna.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. Yes, yes. Yeah. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. It's all about attachment. Yeah. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Okay, I think we're 5 minutes over the hour, so we can stop here. And
Okay, Maharaj, thank you so much for today's class, for your time and association. Thank you all devotees for joining. Maharaj, just a small announcement. We don't have our regular Bhakti Sangha Charlotte devotees class tomorrow. It is moved to Friday, so we will have our regular class tomorrow at 11 a.m. EST.
yeah, I'll be able to do that class tomorrow also.
Okay.
And Charlotte on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I don't think I'll be able to do the classes, but there is a slight chance I will. I'm not sure. I'll be in another city, in another situation. I have to see what that situation is. Okay, but at least the next 2 days, I should be here anyway.
Okay, Maharaj, thank you so much.
And I'm also giving class again tomorrow in Kishore Kishori's temple at 7:30 Central Standard Time.
Okay, Maharaj, thank you so much. Maharaj, do you have any plans of going to Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Yeah, but I have a problem how to get there. So I'll talk to you. Maybe you can solve my problem for me. I'll see you as Krishna's agent for solving my problem. Yeah, I'm supposed to go to Pittsburgh on Monday or Tuesday coming.
Coming Monday?
Huh?
Is it coming Monday, Maharaj?
Yeah.
Okay.
Monday or Tuesday, and then I'll be there Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, I'm in Gitanagari. Saturday, Gitanagari Ratha Yatra. Sunday, Harrisburg Temple for the Sunday Feast program there. August 6th is the Chicago Ratha Yatra. And then I think there's some dates in Charlotte coming up on the 11th through the 13th of August. And then in between, there's some fill-ins here and there. So let's see. But yeah, come to Pittsburgh.
Yes, Maharaj, definitely. I would like to come and see you in person and take your blessings.
I should be there by Tuesday.
Okay. Sure, Maharaj. Thank you for letting us know about your schedule. I will definitely try my best.
And then one day we'll go to Gita New Vrindavan. I'm not sure, maybe Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay. Okay, Maharaj. Please let me know if I can be of any service to you during this period.
Connect with Candramauli Gopal and he'll tell you.
Sure. Sure.
Okay, my obeisances to everyone. Vanchakalpa tarupascha kripa sindhu daivacha itanam vaishnavibhyo namo Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai.
Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Maharaj.
Just a quick update for you, Guru Maharaj. That special package, just a very quick update for you, Guru Maharaj. That special package was handed over to Murlidhar Prabhu, who will take it to Krishna.